Oh, I'm sorry.
She's always ready to roll.
Yeah, Stephanie, should I
You know
start
what?
over?
If they're not doing their jobs over there, we need to start thinking about that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll start over. Committee of the whole meeting, of Wednesday, June 4th, 2025. It's being called to order at 5 p.m. Moore is here. Mordarski is absent. Morris,
Present.
Shufelt is excused. Block,
Here,
Fields.
here.
Oh, we have somebody missing on.
Yeah, we do.
Hey,
Oh, yeah, Jeff.
what am I, the redheaded stepchild?
Yeah. Mark Westfall is also here. And not, on the agenda.
Okay, we're gonna be looking at her promotion, her raise.
Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation. Thank you.
Okay, item 3, revision / approval of the agenda policy number 0166. Are there any revisions to the agenda? No? Okay, looking for a motion.
Motion,
Motion by Ms. Moore. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Ms. Fields. Mr. Mordarski is excused. Mr. Morris is a yes. Ms. Shufelt is excused. Ms. Block,
Yes.
Ms. Fields,
Yeah.
Ms. Moore,
yes.
Mr. Westfall.
Yes.
Okay,
He's not
carried.
on here, then.
I think the last time we had a committee of the whole was before he was appointed. So I think that's exactly how that happened.
Okay, moving on.
Right, committee, meeting updates. We're gonna go with Kathy and the Facilities, Grounds Improvements, Transportation Committee. Mrs. Kathy Fields.
Thank you. We also had a finance committee on the 30th, but I'm not gonna go into that since Dr. Hill will be presenting the budget information during the regular board meeting. Excuse me. The facilities, grounds improvements, and then we added transportation since that's pretty much been combined into one department. And I felt that the board should be made aware of issues, positives, what's needed and what's going on in transportation as well. We had a quorum and the Hoover roof has been completed. Work is currently being done on the west roof. Johnson's roof is scheduled for this week since preschool is dismissed from for the summer. Myers and Holland are scheduled for the second week after summer dismissal, and boilers at West are close to completion. The playground equipment is going to be moved from Eureka Heights to Randall, and it's in the planning stage because they want to coordinate the installation of the new 8-foot fence with moving the playground. After discussion, the committee made I don't know if you'd say decision, but we support the superintendent's decision to move the utility department currently on Pine Street, which is nestled in a little neighborhood, to the now empty Fisher Elementary School, which in my mind, that will allow them better access of in and out in the whole bit, because that's right on Beach Daily. This will free up the 10+ lots on Pine for some future sale, if that's what the board wants to do. After discussion, the committee supports the superintendent's decision to use Eureka Heights during the summer to house summer programs normally held in the buildings. This will allow the summer's cleaning and repair to stay on schedule. And since the law states if a school is left empty and not used for students for 3 years, if and when the board determines to use it again, it would be costly to the district, who would then have to go through the certification process again. Transportation currently transports students to the buildings for the summer programs So they will just be transported to Eureka Heights instead. Also, the committee supports the superintendent's decision to allow Fish and Loaves to submit a yearly building permit to hold their fundraiser, Santa's Magic Forest in Eureka Heights. The background is Fish and Loaves feeds many of our Taylor families. It was a staple Christmas attraction in Heritage Park. The city has now chosen to use that space as a rental venue for the city. So the committee believes welcoming Fish and Loaves to hold the Christmas event in one of our buildings is not only helping the Taylor families, but also becoming more involved in our community. The improvements, there is this meeting and we're going to get a presentation, so we really didn't go into that. And then in transportation, the committee is recommending that, that transportation be added to this group for committees. Mr. Gerard is working with the Eagle Company on the underground storage tank issue. The bus state inspection went very well. And then the results of the Wayne County Region 11 School Bus Rodeo. 9 school districts participated this year. First place went to one of our drivers, Mike Salisbury. Third place went to another one of our drivers, Nishan Craig. And these 2 drivers will now be participating in the state championship on June 14th in Mason, Michigan. All of the participants between the 2, alongside the 2, were Sarah Carroll, Anna Myers, Haley Leckenby, Gina McClure, DeRue, Hatfield, and John Dawson. Overall, the overall championship went to the Taylor School District. Yeah. So good job, Jeff. And that's all I have. I read it fast because I know we got a presentation.
I do have a quick question, Kathy. Is that for the storage of the Santa's Magical Forest stuff or for the usage of the building?
The use of the building, they will have the magic. I didn't offer storage
Okay.
when they reached out, and then I talked to Mike.
Yeah.
And then I talked to Jack, and Jack was all for it as well. I didn't know if that would be a liability issue.
Okay.
So, just, they were thrilled to death to know that they could have a potential home and not have to keep looking for one every single year.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you.
Did they ask about storage of the?
Not yet, no.
Not yet. All right. Discussion items, Spartan Mallow. You're up.
Stephanie.
Stephanie, okay, I didn't.
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
sure if-
I know you.
Yeah, I wasn't sure the first name.
Yes. Yep, absolutely. Sounds good.
Good evening, everyone.
Good
Thank you
evening.
so much for having us today. Can maybe go to the next slide. We'll start with some introductions. I'm Stephanie Hashi. I'm a project executive with Barton Mallow. Been with the company 24 years. I started as an intern in college and sort of never left. Most of that time has been in building schools in K-12 and community college. So probably 95% of my career at Barton Mallow. As a project executive, I'm sort of making sure that all the resources are aligned, that sort of managing the team to make sure that they're doing what they need to do and checking in with the district to make sure that we're kind of meeting expectations and just doing what we said we're going to do. Larry?
Hi, I'm Larry Bukowski. I'm Director of Planning for our K-12 group at Barton Mallow, and I spend my entire week helping districts like you plan and pass their bond programs that they're looking to go out for. So pleasure to meet you all.
My name is Brian Jesse. I've worked for Barton Mallow just shy of 15 years, my entire adult career. And currently I lead our technology design group. So Barton Mallow is unique in that we have a technology design group in-house. And so it's a pleasure to meet everybody.
I feel like Barton Mallow should.
Good evening. My name's Kyle Anderson. For over 25 years, I served 3 school districts as the assistant superintendent for business and operations. I had the pleasure of working on $311 million of bond projects throughout that career. And my role is just to bring my expertise and assist Dr. Hill in anything financial that I possibly can associated with this bond issue. It's a pleasure to meet you all.
Thank you.
Right, I'm Kelsey Berkmeyer. I am the owner of Boddick, Bennick and Cassidy. I'm a longtime partner with Barton Mello. You'll see my name says election specialist. However, I'm also the community engagement specialist. So that's the role I'll play with the team.
And then you see Alyssa Bouchard, she wasn't able to be here today, but she is a community relations manager that works with us at Barton Mallow. And we'll talk about kind of her role later on, but she's after the plan's in place and communicate or construction's ongoing, communicating with the community. So that slide. So just a little bit about Barton Mallow. This no surprises, no excuses. We kind of start a lot of presentations with that. That is like it's like this stone statue that's in our lobby that we walk past every day when we go into work. And that's just sort of like the ethos that Barton Mallow lives by. You know, our goal is that we're constantly communicating so that there are no surprises and we don't have to make any excuses because things are going according to plan. Next slide. Just a little bit about us. I won't read them all, but you can see we've been in business for 100 years. That's something we're really proud of. 2024 was our 100-year anniversary, and we have been building schools pretty much the entire time since 2024. We have 130 team members dedicated to schools. We're in a bunch of districts across Michigan, a lot of them here in Wayne County, a lot of your neighboring districts. So we know that the area we work here a lot of work in place and one of the most trustworthy companies in America, which is something we're really proud of. Barton Mellow's family owned and has been for 100 years. So now getting into the specifics of Taylor, we've had a couple meetings here with your administration talking about, you know, your situation and how we may be able to help you. And we put together a preliminary timeline of how we think things could play out. You'll see that orange bar, that's sort of the planning phase. So you're, you know, in the unique position, you've passed the bond, but we sort of need to reshuffle the projects and how things are going to move forward. So we would spend these summer months, basically, if you can see down at the bottom, that's sort of a blow up of what that orange section would be like. You know, we're here today, a Board of Education presentation on June 4th. If we're approved to move forward in June and July, we would be walking your buildings and meeting with your staff, your facilities department to kind of just get a feel of what the needs are at every building here in Taylor so that we can have a comprehensive list and then be in a position to make decisions. So we'll get the list of what the needs are, what the spaces look like today. We'll put costs, like real-time costs to those lists. Can see we have a couple presentations, Board of Education presentations in July and August, where we'll give you an update on where we are with the process. In July and August, we'll be prioritizing. Now we have the list and the cost, and you're not unique in that the list of needs is always bigger than the pot of money. I haven't worked in a district yet that isn't the case. So we'll, you know, need to prioritize. We'll refine the plan in August and September. Once everyone's back in school in September was when we would start doing the community engagement, you know, sort of piece, engaging, making sure the community's on board, and we'll talk more about that. We'll go into depth more about all of this, but just to give you the broad timeline, with the goal of having a finalized plan in October, so we can say this is sort of the new plan, the realigned bond. And then you can see those bars in blue below it are just potential, you know, once we come up with a plan, when construction might be. I know the high school was a big priority here, so we wouldn't want to rush that. We'd have some, you know, a significant amount of design time. You want to give the architect time to come up with a good plan, but we want to keep construction happening. So maybe in 2026, the summer of 2026, we find some critical infrastructure projects that we could do just so that, you know, the community sees that we're doing things while the architect is working on the design of the high school, and then start the high school if that's deemed to be the priority. And then that last bar is, you know, if there's work in other buildings, the middle schools, the elementaries, you know, maybe that starts later. And that can all be fully adjusted once we come up with what the new plan is and get the boards, you know, you're happy with the plan, the community's bought in on the plan. So that is the preliminary timeline. And then we'll go into a little more detail about like what all those different sections entail. So with that, I'll turn it over to Larry.
I just want to take a few moments and talk you through the process that we use. This is pretty much the process we use across the board for most districts. I know this is a little bit of a unique scenario, but we're treating it no different than if it were, you know, us starting from scratch. First thing we do is perform what's called a facilities condition assessment, and it's basically what it sounds like. We walk your buildings, we create to-do lists of everything that has to get done at all buildings, and we look at everything in a sort of a 10-year time span. Look at everything that has to be budgeted within the next 10 years, in our opinion, to replace. And we do that in conjunction with your facilities team. We don't like to just walk your buildings and create our own lists. We like to hear from your staff what is bugging them on a daily basis. We feel like that's the most effective way of compiling the list of needs that need to get done. Once we have the to-do list done, we put cost estimates to those items. And where we get our cost estimating data from is from all those districts that Stephanie mentioned we work in. We're constantly bidding projects out in your neighboring districts. So we know what boilers cost, we know what doors cost and windows and roofs. And we can put actual real life cost data into your budgeted cost estimates. Another really important thing to do is you're going to have your $100 million worth of needs or wants that you have, whatever the number may be. But we can't do it all at once, right? You're restricted by the amount, by how fast you can get cash by selling bonds. So developing a plan that matches your cash flow is really important. I don't know if Kyle wants to talk.
Yeah,
about it.
I would just add too that another important piece would be to make sure that we have a transparent and timely budgeting system in place, and assisting Dr. Hill in putting that together so our teams are making decisions and not being delayed. And you can provide information to the community to provide updates on where the bond stands financially.
Another component that we look at is your building utilization. We look at your current enrollment data. We look at each room, how you're utilizing each room. We factor that into our budgeting and our planning as well. Finally is, you know, this is something, the prioritization process is something we really work closely with your team on. Are there items that are threatening to close school if they're not addressed? Are there boilers that are going to go out? Are there roofs that are leaking? Whatever the case may be. We want to make sure those get done right away. Stephanie mentioned some of those critical infrastructure things that'll happen hopefully year one. Those are the things that we work with your team to identify what those are. Once we have the full list in place, everything prioritized, Kelsey's team will go out to the community, engage with them. The goal of this whole process is to create a program that the entire community can kind of coalesce behind. The board, the staff, everyone can kind of agree on this. This is what the program needs to look like for the amount of dollars that we have. And that's what Kelsey will focus on later on in this process. Finally, once we've gotten all the feedback, we've whittled the list down to the amount that you can afford. We basically draft a bond application, and I know it's already passed. It's already gone through the process, but because it's changed so significantly from that time, it will require some sort of a resubmittal process. So like I said, this is really, the process is no different than if you were going out for a new bond for the very first time. Just a list of some of the items we look at in the facilities assessment process. And really, we're not factoring any programming needs at this point. We're not, we want a STEM lab here or a robotics area here or addition over there. We're literally walking your buildings, calling balls and strikes, saying this bathroom should be updated in the next 10 years. These lights are about to go out in the next 1 to 3 years, things like that. Just 1-for-1 replacement type items.
As far as technology and security, so Barton Malow is unique, as I mentioned before, in that we're the only CM in the state of Michigan that has a technology design group and team in place under the same roof as our CM team. So what that means for Taylor School District is that we'll be working alongside Larry and the planning team to ensure that technology and security needs are also implemented in that cohesive plan. So we'll be walking the buildings alongside Larry and the planning team. And we'll also be meeting with the technology director and your security director and potentially your curriculum director to make sure that all of the, technology needs that the students and the staff, touch and use every day are integrated into that plan. So just whether that's, district-wide systems that need to be replaced in order to provide consistency, or it's just things that through the construction process, impacts to the technology that's in place that need to be changed or added, making sure that those things are integrated into the plan. Once we get that plan in place, then we work really closely with the A&E partners, so your architects and engineers, to make sure that we coordinate those designs and design those pieces into the overall plan. So that means like junction boxes and electrical infrastructure and things that are needed to make the technology work in the classroom are integrated into the plan, so that we don't have stuff that's added to these buildings or to, to like the high school, for instance, that appear to be afterthoughts. And we also ensure that they're installed according to, codes and inspected by electrical and everything as needed, so the permits are pulled and all of that stuff throughout. So, then the last phase of it, once everything gets installed, we go through and do the punch listing and ensure that everything, is installed per the design and make sure that it's all working properly for the district.
All right, so then comes the part of testing your plan again with the community. So how we would implement into this whole process is we would take the project lists that have been refined, restructured, the new plan, and present that to the community. And we would engage a large cross-section of your community, making sure everybody has their opportunity to, what we like to say is put their oar in the water when it comes to the revamp of your projects. So we know that you have done polling already. That is something that I would like to see, just so we can, not repeat it, right? You've done it already. So what can we do to engage differently? This time, we would be saying, we have this new plan. What do you think of it? We test that in what we call focus panel groups. That is 10 to 12 groups of 10 to 12 people from your community. We will help you identify those people. You will invite those people. We host them virtually. And it's parents, it's staff, it's students at your secondary level. It's your longtime residents, it's business owners, elected officials. That's who we want to bring in. So it's these targeted groups that will ask their opinion about the revised plan. Then after that, we launch a community-wide survey. Again, that's giving everybody their chance to provide input on the revision that you're proposing and the new plan moving forward. With that, we'll put a report together and do a presentation saying, this is what your community is saying, this is what they like, this is what they don't like. Sometimes we get to move forward. Sometimes we have to kind of revamp a little bit and have a little bit of an amendment to the application or to the projects that we're presenting. So after all that is done, what you're going to do is continue the communication that you're doing. Your website is updated. I've seen the announcements that have gone out. However, pushing that out to the broader community. My title is the election specialist, so I know who does vote in communities. We know it's typically not parents. We know it's the 55 and older in your community. So making sure that that message goes further than your website. It gets into the hands of the older population in your community because they're your voting demographic. So what you would do is you would share the facts. This is where we currently sit, what you have. This is our plan moving forward. And now we've done that. So here is what we have found based on the community engagement. And then you emphasize the benefit of that. We gave everybody a chance to share their thoughts. This is a community-wide proposal, and then you can move forward with the plan that the whole team has put together and start those projects so you can have a future focus plan. Okay.
Thank you.
And then additionally, like I said, it's important to communicate, once the plan's in place and we're going to start construction, we don't want to just forget about telling people what's going on, right? We want to show them like, we told you this was the plan and now we're implementing the plan. So we have Alyssa, who's part of our team, who will work with the district and come up with, this is just some examples that we've done in other districts, but you might have a mailer that goes out to the entire community. We'll help with social media graphics that you share on Facebook. If there's like a newsletter that goes, email blast that goes out to parents. So we'll work and give you the content because we found a lot of districts, most districts don't have a communications person on staff because, that's just, they don't. And it's usually someone's like third or fourth responsibility that they're just trying to do. So we'll make sure that you get the content, you know, you'll review it all and you're the one sharing it, but we give you that information so that the community stays engaged and they know what's going on. Like we said, we were going to do this, and here's this brochure, this mailer, and it's got all pictures of all the cool stuff we've done. So we make sure that that communication continues throughout the process.
That just says bond update.
So just to conclude, why Barton Mallow? Like Brian said, we're the only CM that has technology design sort of in-house. Experienced financial support. Kyle has, you know, a wealth of knowledge. Any financial question pretty much that comes up, we can help with. Unmatched CM experience, you know, we're the largest construction manager in the state, work in a bunch of different school districts. Single source solution. So, you know, you hire us and we sort of take care of it along with your architect. You do have to have an architect, but we work together cohesively. And then communication throughout the process. Communication with you all, communication with administration, communication with the community. Like that's just the focus to make sure that we are communicating. Like I said, no surprises, no excuses. Everyone knows what to expect. With that, are there any questions?
Well, are we gonna have someone on our end that will be able to push through the information that they give us for the community and for?
Yeah, we'll be able, yes, we'll make that happen, yes.
I kind of like the one flyer that says bond update. 'Cause I don't think people are making, when
Yes.
you're sending it out, I don't think people, you know, may not make that connection.
Yeah.
This is what they,
Yeah, so
not that I
like
think
you
it's
voted in
podcast
this and this is
anytime.
what we're doing with that money. Yeah.
Yeah.
Communication is very important to get out to all walks of life in our community.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's important because not everyone has a student and not everyone's
Right.
engaged in the schools, but they pay taxes and they live here. So
Yep.
that's why it's important, like mailings out to the whole, you know, anyone who lives here.
Right.
Usually, especially the older population, usually physical mail is the best way to communicate with them.
Yeah, no, because we've been doing very much an emphasis on being better communicating with our internal people, with, you know, our parents and that, but I've been struggling to hit that. How do you get beyond that? So this is a great resource to help us with that.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Any questions?
All sounds good to me.
Well, thank you so much for having
Thank
us.
you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here and for the help. Okay, now we're going to speak about the non-homestead election renewal with Mr. Crowley.
Evening.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I don't know if you had, did you load this PowerPoint up
Sean.
that I sent you?
Do you have the PowerPoint or no? I don't think you have one. Okay.
There, I can send it again.
Oh, I think we're gonna send it right now. Yeah, you send it to Matt. I wanna,
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll send it to.
no, it's all right. Oh, yeah, you're.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, Jim.
No, it's all right.
Okay.
With air conditioning units and everywhere.
Well,
Okay, Matt, I sent it to you.
Plans that you check in general, yeah. Last time, so
Sure. To go from here to here, you mean?
It also just play it from Dr. Hill's laptop directly onto the Zoom.
Yeah. Verify your last name. That's where I sent it. Brandon.
Dr. Hill, if you just send it to me, I can run the PowerPoint. Yeah.
Okay.
You got
Oh,
it.
there, look at that. It finally arrived.
It's like that exercise when you're in second grade. This is how long a minute is. That was the longest minute of my life.
Perfect. Thank you. So tonight, I wanted to talk about the operating millage. Whether we should take any action with it. If you go to the next slide. So since 1994, school districts have been funded under Prop A, which we went to a per pupil funding method, as you all know. So under Prop A, we get X amount of dollars for a base foundation allowance. You get other money through categorical items, but the base foundation allowance for 2024-25 is $9,608 for each kid. So that actually comes from two sources. So under Prop A, districts are required to levy 18 mils of operating tax on what we call non-homestead property. So that's excludes personal residences. So this non-homestead tax we're required to levy each district is on commercial property, basically. That money comes into the district and then the state gives you the rest to get you to the $9,608 per child. So the operating tax, according to the Constitution, has to be approved by the voters. And so every year, or not every year, but every so often, it has to be renewed. The Constitution says that it can't be renewed for a period longer than 20 years. So Taylor Schools last approved this, renewed it back in 2017 for 10 years for 18 mils. The problem that we were running into all over the state is the fact that this 18 mils is subject to Headley rollbacks. So Headley rollbacks is a tax limitation provision in the Constitution that says that if property values rise faster than taxes, or if property values rise faster than inflation, then we're going to cap it. And they do that by reducing your millage levy authorization. So if you didn't do that, schools and municipalities were receiving too much money. So the limitation goes. The problem we have with this is that Prop A, there's a flaw in it. It really doesn't work that way for schools. For schools, the state's always assuming in that formula that you're levying 18 mils. And when you're not, because you're rolled back, you actually lose money. And so if you go to the next slide, please. So right now, you guys have been rolled back. So this is, we haven't had to worry about rollbacks for many years. After the recession, 08, 09, property values all over the state plummeted it. And gradually they've come back and come back and come back, where now they're coming to a point where we're experiencing these rollbacks again. So in Taylor, for the last several years, you have been rolled back below 18 mils. And so again, you're getting penalized. You're not receiving your full foundation allowance. And so for this year, if you don't do anything, you will lose about $350,000. And so you'll lose it each year until you restore that. Ask the voters to restore it back to 18 mils. Once a rollback happens, it's a permanent reduction. You have to ask the voters to restore that in order to levy it again. The second item you have going on here is that this district with the 3 other districts around received a portion of the Inkster schools when they were dissolved. That portion was continuing, those 18 mils that were being levied there were levied by Inkster schools until Inkster paid off its emergency loans. Last year, the state in their budget paid off Inkster's loans and other loans around the state. DPS got some of it. So at that point, Inkster no longer levies the 18 mils for that portion. Taylor, that portion of Inkster schools is now in Taylor, but we can't levy those 18 mils there until we go to an election where those Inkster voters have a chance to vote on it. So I try to get, I don't know exactly how much that's the value of that, how much dollars that would raise. We did this last year for Wayne Westland, and that number was about $50,000 of lost taxes. So I don't know if that's comparable in Taylor, but it's something that, so anyway, that's the other reason for the proposal that could you do the next slide? So what I'm proposing, we've done this because of many of our clients having this rollback problem. And in your case, your authorization doesn't expire for 2 more years. And you're like many districts that we deal with. So what we've done is to go out to the voters and say, hey, let's replace it, not renew it. We're going to replace it. We're going to do a new authorization that's going to replace what we have. And so we would go out to the voters and say, we want to replace the 17 amount and restore back to 18 mils. Now, the good thing about that is if we do that at the November election this year, we can actually go, you are 100% July 1 levy in Taylor. If we do this in November, we can do one-time December levy and capture that $350,000. So you can capture that money this year from the voters. The other thing we're doing is we're doing what's called a Headley cushion. We're asking, you can ask the voters to approve as many mills as you want. You can only levy 18. So districts all over the state are going to the voters and say, approve 21 mills. So 18 mills is all we can levy. We have a 3 mil cushion, and that protects us against future Headley rollbacks. So we don't have this. If we just renewed or replaced up to 18 mills, you're probably going to be in the same boat next year because it looks like I don't see rollbacks slowing down in the foreseeable future. So our districts are doing anywhere from 1 to 3 mils of a cushion. And we do the math on that to look at what your rollback history has been and then kind of figure out what would be a good cushion to have. It takes a little explaining to the voters, but we can do it in a Q&A format. And the most important thing to keep emphasizing with this, homeowners don't pay this tax. This is a tax paid by commercial businesses, and under Prop A, they should be paying the full 18 mils. Otherwise, we, Taylor, don't get our full foundation allowance, the $9,608. So my recommendation, and I had proposed this to the administration, is to go out into the November election to restore or replace and ask for a Headley cushion of 2 to 3 mils on that. You go again. So if we did try to get to the November election, we'd have to submit the ballot proposal to your Wayne County clerk on or before August 12th. So you'd have to approve this at a board meeting either this month or in July. And then the election would be November 4th is the November election date this year. And then the next side, and this is what the ballot language would look like. We'd be asking for replacement, and we explained that it's replacing the current authorization, which expires in 2027. And it would be a replacement of the rolled back amount, a restoration of the Headley rollback, and then a 3 mil cushion in this instance to protect against future rollbacks on that. We think we had a lot of success. I think I did last November, I had 12 districts that did this. They all passed, and it was very successful. The only other thing to think about, not a big fan of these elections. People don't understand them. For a homeowner that doesn't pay this tax, to vote no against it means they don't understand what they're voting on, in my opinion. So we can go up to 20-year term. Last time the district went 10 years, but I'm trying to encourage districts to go with a 2 or 3 mil cushion, something that would protect you well into the future, and then ask the voters for a 20-year term. So we don't have to run an election for another 20 years, which would be, I think it takes resources and time away from administration to have to go through the renewals. So it's something to think about. You could stick with the 10-year if you wanted to, but I've been encouraging districts to go to the 20-year just to put it to bed and get a 20-year. You don't have to worry about it. Any questions? Yep.
So I was gonna say too, just when we were looking at election dates to bring this forward, lots of appeal about it being in November because it is the general election, and it does not cost us as the district to put it on that ballot because there are already other initiatives, other elections that will be taking place in the city. So
My
it's to our
concern is
benefit.
getting the information out that it's not going to affect.
Correct. Yes. Yes.
That's a biggie. If we
Absolutely.
don't understand it, we're gonna lose it.
Yeah, absolutely. I get that.
So I don't know if we need a committee to go together to give this a push, because everybody's a little bit shy right now.
Yep.
But what they do need to understand is it's not going to increase their tax.
Correct. Absolutely.
Any other questions?
Yep. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, public comment. Do we have anyone wishing to address the board? Seeing anybody online?
No.
No, okay. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion?
Motion by Mr. Morris.
Or
Kathy Fields. Mr. Morris,
Yes.
Mr. Shufelt is excused. Mrs. Block,
yes.
Mrs. Fields. Mrs. Moore is a yes. Mr. Mordarski is excused. And Mr. Westfall.
Yes.
Thank you. That passes. We have 5-0. 5-0. Adjournment at 5:43.